there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am a UK Stampin' Up independent demonstrator and today in South Oxfordshire it's pouring with rain. Hopefully by the time you see this it won't be. Anyway, today is another project using the April Craft Kit and I'm going to be doing a small note card, well, standard size note card. So I've got one of the note cards with its envelope. And I have already, using the optional, but it will still work without, the optional textured impressions embossing folders. You get two. You get the kind of vine, which is what I've used, and this floral. And I'm using some of the designer series paper, and again it's the optional stamp set and the optional die cuts. You can use other dies that you've already got. You can use other stamps that you've already got, but obviously it's all goes together, so that's why I'm using it. So I've already folded one of the note cards in half, and I'll just give that a good burnish. This is in the thick Whisper White, so it's lovely and stiff, and we've got the envelope to match. We will come back to that. I have already die cut out of powder pink, which is in the kit. Two of the dies, and they're just the outline florals. I'll peel those off later. So I've got two of those. I've stuck some of the multi-purpose adhesive strip on the back. Now if you ordered my last month's kit and you had any of the optional extras, you will have had a sheet of this in that kit. So you may already have that. Obviously otherwise you can just use glue to attach things. So hopefully this will be a relatively quick project for you. I'll leave the stamps where you can see them, but they're so large I can't put them where you can see them because it's two sets, it's two boxes of stamps. So I've just cut my designer series paper. The cards are 3.5 by 5 inches, so I've cut my designer series paper 1/4 of an inch shorter on two sides, and the Whisper White cardstock is 1/4 of an inch shorter than that. The dimensions will be in the usual place on the blog post immediately below, or rather the link is immediately below. So I'm going to take some snail and attach my designer series paper with that. We are going to do a little bit of stamping and a little bit of die cutting. But not a huge amount, but I want to die cut the, I want to stamp the sentiment and then, whoops, and then die cut it. This is why I used snail, because it is for a wee while repositionable. It's a very tight fit because we've only got 1/8 of an inch spare. So then I'm just going to, actually no, before I do that, I'm not going to do that. I've got a piece of the shimmery powder pink shimmer ribbon, which I will run round the card. What I'm then going to be doing is building up layers on top of that. So, or do I want that underneath? No, I'm going to stick that underneath. Don't you love it when I've planned? Okay, so this is the die cut piece. Some of the pieces have stayed in and some have come out, but that's fine. Let me find a piercing tool and I can then get all of this off the backing. Just need to find somewhere where it hasn't totally die cut. You do tend to find with the with putting the backing on that you'll get somewhere that won't have totally die cut. That's the place you want to pick it up by, because then it leaves the backing in place, and it means you just pick up the sticker, and it's much easier than trying to peel a fairly fine piece of die cut. Oop, got bits stuck everywhere now, so I'm just going to pop that there, and then take the bit of die cut off my fingers. And then do the same thing with this, which has completely die cut, which is fine. We kind of want it completely die cut, but it just makes it easier if some of it stays intact, because then you can leave some of the bits in place. I'm making a real mess of this, aren't I? Or a fiddle of it. It's not a mess, I'm making a fiddle of it. There we are, that's what I wanted it to do. Okay, so this will pop think up in that corner there. So it's just to bring a little bit of colour in, because black and white's lovely. I'm very fond of monochrome. Anyone who knows me and seen previous projects will know I love monochrome. So we will, oops, the little bits that are sticky are sticking everywhere. So having popped those on, I will now pop on my ribbon, and I'll just catch that last little bit at the bottom. I am going to use Fuse purely because it is that bit stickier, and I want to make sure that it really stays in place. But you can use tear and tape, you can use snail because we're going to stick this down so it doesn't, and you can also use a smaller piece of ribbon. I have been rather generous with my ribbon. Don't be as generous as me with your ribbon. You want to save it for more projects. There we go. And then this, as I'm using fast fuse anyway, I will continue to do so to attach the rest of my piece. And that then just goes over the top. And then I've got a, no, that's the envelope. I've got a scrap of Whisper White here, and I'm going to use Memento Black, Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm using the Congratulations stamp. So I'm just going to stamp, am I in? Yes, I am. Stamp that kind of in the middle. I'm hoping it's straight, but I'm not too worried if it's not, because we're then going to die cut that. So in the dies, as well as these filigrees and various other dies, there is this lovely label. So I'm going to run that through the big shot, which is just off camera. And of course it doesn't want to stay straight because I'm using the magnetic plate. Isn't it always the way? You try and use things because it's going to make life... Oh, got it straight. Yay! Right. You could, and I would highly recommend using a piece of washi tape to keep everything in place, because that way you know it's going to be straight. Okay. Right, there we are. It's sort of straight. So this I'm going to pop just here with a few dimensionals, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping on the envelope, just because it is there to be stamped on, so we might as well, and I think it's quite nice to add a little bit of stamping on the envelope, and then we'll be done. And we might actually, yep, up there. Ooh, in the middle would be so much better, wouldn't it? There we are. So that's that, and then if I grab a scrap of paper, preferably one that's not completely filthy, there we are, and bring in my envelope, because I want to stamp in two places. I want to stamp on the flap, but I also want to stamp on the front. So let's grab an appropriate size block or two, and I'm going to use those two stamps. So pop that one on there and that one on there. And again with the Tuxedo Black, this is one of those stamp sets where it's meant to be not complete, so I'm going to go with it. And now I'm going to put this one on the front. So we'll pop this one down here, but going off the edge, so it's not... I like things going off the edge, it looks more meant. And then on the back, in as near as the middle as I can get it by eye, we'll do that. And then pop that to one side for the moment, because I then want to bring in the card. And then I'm going to stamp once, stamp. So stamp once, and then just down in the bottom corner, just to add a bit of interest on the inside. So let's clear those away and look at what we've got. And in, gosh, 9 minutes, pretty much from start to finish, we have got this lovely little note card and matching envelope. So I hope you enjoyed that. It gives you a bit more inspiration for what to do with your kit. Now obviously if you don't have the dies and the embossing folders, you could do some stamping with any stamps just to fill in the space. And the die here, you could just use a strip. It doesn't have to have the frou-frou at the end. But I hope it gives you a few ideas, and look forward to hearing from you again very soon. If you want that doesn't make sense. I do look forward to hearing from you soon. If you want to reserve a craft box, they're £20 delivered. They include just over £20 worth of product if you were to be able to buy it in these quantities retail, but they come to you delivered for just £20. The details of how to do that are linked below in the blog post. But basically, you just drop me an email, tell me that you want the box. If you want any of the optional extras, I send you an invoice, you send me money, I get it ordered, I post it out. Done. If you want to do that and you want to pay by cheque, I need the cheque by the 10th of April so I can bank it. If you're using PayPal or bank transfer, then I need the payment by the 14th of April, just so, again, I can get everything ordered and out. And I hope to get everything out within about a week. I'm then dependent on when Stampin' Up posts to me. So I hope you found that inspirational, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks a lot.